Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbé, here as part of Star Nation's radio network, and I'm broadcasting to you live through Facebook Land and Be Live TV. So hi guys, welcome. Tonight's Chakra Sessions is all about releasing resentment. Small topic, but big energy, right? So it's an interesting thing that resentment has been coming up a number of times for people I know, for clients, for students, even for myself. Some old energy that's ready to release from us and from the planet. So won't this be a great way to launch into some new energy? So I'm very much looking forward to it. Christine, hi, welcome to the show. Glad you are here in Facebook land with me. It's exciting when we gather together. I feel like it sets an intention. It sets this energy that we are here to create some change. And we start with ourselves, right? And so that's what Chakra Sessions is all about, helping you connect to your own energy and looking for ways to heal and improve your flow and improve what's going on for you. So, hi, welcome, Jen. Good evening. Nice to have you here. And of course, Rob, what do you know, Polly Jo? Thanks you for coming and being here with me this evening. I know it's such a, small topic, releasing resentment. How do we do that? But energetically, it lands in our body in a particular way. And then when we get frustrated, when we get anxious, when we get stressed, any stored resentment can kind of bubble to the surface and create a little bit of havoc for us. So why not release it? Why not find some ways to let that stuff go? Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. And Joanne, hi. How are you? We're starting to gather tonight. Good to see you guys. Hello, Jackie. Good evening. Oh, I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan. Pooh is actually an animal totem for me. And he's very connected to my second chakra. So it's very interesting that you have Pooh there. And Rob's saying that he's not holding on to anything. He resents the implication that he is. Yeah, none of us are ever holding on to resentment, right? It's we experience it and we let it go. And maybe we do that now, but did we always do that? Did my 13-year-old self do that? And I've been noticing that a lot, that, some of that angsty teenage energy, that we held on to because we didn't feel like we were understood. It's still sort of lodged in places in our energy body. It's those issues are in our tissues. So why not let them go? So if you think this is something that other people might want to hear, it'd be super if you could like and share this post and get it out into Facebook land. You could share it on your page, in a group, or even just send a messenger link to somebody that you know who maybe would love to release some resentment. So there you have it. Oh, hi, Carol. Glad to have you back. Yeah, I'm finding it fun, my new schedule. For those of you who don't know, Chakra Sessions used to be on Tuesdays at noon. And what happened was my energy and my family, the middle of the day on Tuesday was really going to interfere with me having some quality time with my husband, because Tuesday and Wednesday basically are our weekend because of our work schedules. And so that just didn't seem cool. And so when I chatted with the beautiful Neshi, who's here, I said, can we move it? And she said, absolutely, because family is so important to our health and well-being, right? The balance of that. So yes, we're here. And Rob's saying, hi back. And Neshi's saying hello to the peeps and to me. Hi, Neshi. I'm thankful that you're sharing. And Barbie's saying, you were just talking about it. I know. Isn't it fun when spirit brings us all together to do that? And Neshi's saying she's loving and sharing the show because the topic and info is important. It really is. So, resentment is, some people understand that it connects to our third chakra. It is in that place where, it gets fueled by various forms of anger. No surprise there. But it also gets fueled by fear, because when we are uncertain, we can bring up, our guard and our defenses, and that old resentment can come in. But in particular, resentment likes to get most of its fuel from an area near our liver. Oh, there's probably a few of you going, oh. So, when we fuel our liver with certain types of food or alcohol, sometimes we're trying to pacify the resentment, and that doesn't work. And then for those of you who've done a liver cleanse, I don't know how many of you out there have done one of those, but sometimes that old anger and resentment bubbles to the surface because we're purging and we're clearing and we're cleansing the actual organ. And since the vibration of resentment sits in a similar location to the liver often soaks that stuff up. So can you imagine that? Can you understand how that might work? And when we do, sometimes the gallbladder will take the energy as well, because it's very close to the gallbladder as well. But the liver does a lot of it, and many healers have talked about how, anger sits in the liver. And anger does, but it also sits in the stomach. And it can also sit in the pancreas and the spleen. And righteous anger sits in the kidneys. And it can sit in the gallbladder. So anger has a lot of flavors, but the particular flavor that attaches to resentment, that one gets pumped through with that liver. So, if you think about, with the liver energy, we, sometimes crave alcohol. Alcohol is a big one for trying to calm all that down. And it makes sense because alcohol makes the liver work the hardest, right? Sometimes with resentment, we may have a particular type of headache that we call in acetaminophen or Tylenol. And Tylenol too makes the liver work pretty hard. And all those fatty foods, fried foods, that lots of us love. And interestingly, basically, I can't eat them anymore because with my allergy to potatoes, most everything that's fried goes through one of those fryolators with French fries. So interesting. I'm not allowed to have any of that anymore. I'd have to do it myself in an air fryer. And not that I haven't done that, but it's a lot less frequent. I'm not going to go to have the, weekly fish fry because I really can't eat most of it. So that is, another thing when you crave those foods, those fried foods, or you crave alcohol, sometimes it's because it's trying to pacify that resentment energy. Oh dear. So I'm going to show some of these. Hi, Judy. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. And Stephanie's saying, good day to listen to the world, right? And Rob is saying resentment tastes a lot like Jameson and Guinness. Well, you've got the Irish the Irish energy there going, and I have 42% Irish. I'm not so much a Guinness girl, which I just haven't found a flavor for that. But the Jameson and ginger, yes, that can be my adult beverage choice, because it's one of the few I'm not allergic to. So there you have it. So when we have resentment and we've stored it up, we often aren't even aware of it. I had something happen today, which, usually it does because the subject, I choose it a week ahead, but then my team gives me a taste of that either the day of the show or the day before. So it's fresh. It's that energy is fresh, and for me, I came across, I've been doing a lot of decluttering and clearing. Some people have been doing that as part of Lent. They've been releasing an item a day. Well, I've been doing a lot more than an item of the day. But for me, what happens is I've been cleaning and clearing my house, but also my workspaces as part of my work. And there's a particular room that I have that we call the creativity room. And it's where I blend my magical oils. When the recipes come in to help with healing for other people, I blend the oils there. It's where we ship them out from. We do our printing. And, sometimes I make wands or pendulums in there. It's meant to be a space that is creative. And I have different people who come and help me over the years. And when I was organizing and clearing and moving stuff and really trying to shed things that no longer served, I came across this box. It was a box of CDs there was a therapist, or there is a therapist in the area who teaches parenting workshops. And she had some CDs of a lecture on parenting skills and tapping and things like that. Fantastic set of CDs, but they just didn't sell in my space because I don't have as many people with young children as clients. And so I had an assistant over 2 years ago pack them up to mail them back to her. And I came across them. And this well of what the heck came in because I thought it was taken care of. I thought it was all done. And then it was a job that got landed right back on my lap 2.5 years later. And I was very resentful that, I asked that this be done, that it didn't get done. And it was sort of an indication of how things had been with that particular person. And then it brought up all the other resentments I had with other people who'd helped and didn't do what they were trying to say, which is a reflection of all the times that you don't do something when somebody asks you to. And I got that. But that frustration of the old resentment coming in. Now, frustration sits a little closer to your stomach. So I had that little bit of squeezing in the stomach trying to release. And then I had the liver definitely squeezing and releasing. And I did a liver cleanse basically all through January. So of course, this is coming up to release. And I knew what it was and I knew how to release it. But I was so frustrated that it was still there to release. And, my husband was very matter of fact about it and helped instill humor in it. And as soon as I took the box to the post office and handed it off, I was like, I finally got to take that resentment and hand it back. Give it back away. It didn't need to stay in my body. It could go. And as I was handing the box over, I was releasing any energy connected to that person and any resentments I had. And for those of you who know how I clear energy, well, I was clearing, and thank goodness it waited until I got out of the post office, because in our little town, I'm not sure how the postmaster would have felt about me making all that clearing noise. But having said that, it's that we all have those little things that we don't even know are still in there, because it passed, this passed a couple of years ago. So I just assumed I was done. I was clear. But there was this little bit still in there of resentment of, why couldn't it have gotten taken care of when I asked for it? But looking back at where I was 2.5 years ago, I had a really hard time asking clearly for what I wanted. And that was very frustrating. And that's not my reality now. But it was a reminder of how much I've grown. And it also was a reminder of there are little tiny things that we could be holding on to that we have no idea. And don't we want to let that go? So definitely was one of those things. Hi, Sandy. Nice to have you in the show. And Julie, there you are. Nice. And Rob's saying, hello back at ya. Back to Julie. Nice. So yeah, it's that energy of resentment just really gathers a stronghold there. And the thing is that all the resentment that we have, it connects. So if we have resentment about, let's see, I'm trying to bring in something. So if you had a sibling at Christmas when you were 7 who got what you thought was a better Christmas present than you may have old resentment towards that. And as an adult, you're like, you get that they cost the same amount of money or whatever, and you think you've let it go, right? But then you have resentment about a friend who was able to do this really cool thing for their birthday and you weren't. And then you have resentment in college that, you had a cruddy roommate and your room was too hot in your dorm. And then you might have resentment, and they're like little things, but they're all on the same string. Actually, they're just all in the same organ. So now when something comes up and you resent it, it may not be just in the moment. It may be all those other moments coming together. So basically, energetically, what we're talking about in releasing resentment is we're going to give an energetic squeeze, a liver cleanse, an energetic liver cleanse, to start moving some of the old resentment out. So does anybody have resentment? Like, do you have anything that that you've resented, maybe in the last week, maybe from childhood? Share it in the feed, because that will help you to start identifying a resentment that you might have, just like me and this old assistant that I had. I thought I have done like rituals releasing, and I had no idea that there was still this one little pocket of it and this one little piece of it that was sitting there. So cool to see, cool to let go of. Is there anything you guys are holding on? Please share, because it will help the whole group of us to release. And Rob is being his funny self. He said, no, there's nothing to resent in this world. Okay. So nobody's resenting what's going on in the political realm right now. Nobody's resenting big brave dog Carol. Carol has resentment toward her sister, long held. Absolutely. That's a great one. And isn't that time that some of that like started to dissolve and release? So you don't have to allow your sister to control your happiness any longer. Because that's what happens when resentment's in there. The resentment is controlling our happiness. So we're basically allowing those old events and those old moments to control how happy we are. Rob is saying, nope, he doesn't have any. He's such a virtuous man. He has nothing. Jackie is saying she has resentment toward her ex-husband. Fantastic. Right. And I'm sure there's a laundry list of little things that just tweaked your button and things that felt like you were done wrong. There's a lot of us who are going to have exes, whether we were married to them or not, where there were things that happened that, we even if we feel like we let it go, it may still be percolating in there. And now she's saying, yep, resent about family not helping more with my mom. Oh, absolutely. For all of you caregivers out there, if you don't have enough help, there's some resentment in there, right? And there's some of that that's coming up. Perfect. And Carol's saying, I think it's gone, but it gets reactivated, right? When it gets reactivated, then you're like, geez, there's still a nugget of there. There's still a vibration of it. Just like me with this assistant and the package not getting mailed, Stephanie's saying there is more resentment that I could possibly write in a day. Time to get out my journal. Fantastic. And thank you for saying that, because that is, once we do this meditation, it's going to be pulling on the resentment string. And it will give you an opportunity to release it all as the energy continues to move through you. So if you have other ones that pop up, journaling is fantastic because it will ground the energy. And you can ask in your journal, you can ask your spiritual team, I choose to release my resentment about, and then go to town and let it all out. And see how much of that can start to shift, even if the resentment just goes down. So say your resentment's at a 9. If it goes down to a 5, that's created all that space for beautiful new stuff to come in. So thank you for sharing that. Julie's saying she resents her adoption. Oh, absolutely. That is a huge one. And that's like a foundational resentment. So this is a great one to tap into. And then she also resents that no one helping her when she was assaulted. Yeah, there's a lot of times when other people could help and they stand by and do nothing. That creates a lot of resentment. But it also, both of those might contain some righteous anger too, which involves our kidneys. And we'll talk about that too. Andrew says, I have much, but a large amount revolves around my ex, right? Isn't that so true? So much resentment gets attached to significant people in our life, especially ones that we can't, cohabitate with. And we end those relationships, those big, prominent relationships that we've had in our past. There's tons of resentment attached to that. Hi, Angie. Thanks for joining us. So Rob is saying, political crap aside, I resent my soon-to-be ex trying to make me feel guilty for my shortcomings. Yes. That is another one. When people put deflect energy onto us, we resent that. It's like, I'm willing to own my own mistakes, but I'm not willing to take the blame for something that you created or that was co-created between us. I'll own my half, but I'm not owning both halves, right? That can be pretty big. Carol says, I have 2 exes, so twice as much. Oh yeah. Right. I mean, and and I can just laundry list around that. And Julie's saying, oh my God, my emotions are up right now. Yes, absolutely. And New Joy is asking, is there an archives for previous shows? I'm going to let Neshi answer that. Yes, there is. And some of it you can find right here on the Chakra Sessions page. But there's also a lot that's on the YouTube channel. But I'll let Neshi answer that more completely. Judy. Yeah, I just did that and have not talked with him. Don't need anything like that. Don't want the negativity. Right. But sometimes that's the thing. When we don't want the negativity with the ex, we don't honor the negative emotions that got stirred up. So for those of you who are empaths, you may be noticing that it's not just in your liver anymore. The energy has spread across the solar plexus. So we were talking about sort of the right side. That's where resentment is. Then the anger comes across and it gets fuel in the center, kind of below the stomach. And then it moves over to the pancreas kind of area, spleenish, off to the left side. And when we get over there, that's judgment energy. So judgment energy is on the left side of our body, right below our rib cage. Resentment's on the right side of the body, just below the rib cage. Anger sits in the middle and radiates out in each way. And then if we have righteous anger, it may be wrapping all the way around to our kidneys, which is good because we're activating all of that energy to release. Because when that energy is clogging that area, we are actually creating a sort of an anger container for our self-esteem, our self-worth, and our self-confidence. And when we have resentment, it reduces how we feel about ourselves. Not necessarily all the time, but in that moment, we get that defeated feeling or the frustrated. All of that is heavy, and it keeps us out of our heart center. And we all have it. Even Buddhist monks have it. So, it's no one is above feeling this, feeling frustrated, feeling resentful, because, we're human and it's part of our learning process. But as part of our healing process, as part of our soul lessons, we can start to learn how to release it. And it's not always as easy as saying, singing the Let It Go song. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. And so we're going to tap into that energy in a few minutes. So Rob is saying that he grew from experience and from experiences despite the roller coaster ride. Right. And his ex or soon to be ex hasn't. Well, not everybody is doing the work, right? I mean, that's the thing. And we can't do the work for them, and we can't, judge them for not doing the work. Well, we can, but it's not getting us anywhere. But we can lovingly say, I love myself enough to attempt to move forward or to grow. And I'm in control of my own happiness. And if somebody else isn't willing to do their piece, then it's time for that, connection, that relationship to go. And, I have some, a client who's, got 2 little kids, and, her husband is being very distant and very disconnected. And that is a very difficult place. And there's a lot of anger and a lot of resentment. And, and so we've been working on that's not feeding her and that's not feeding her kids. So how do you move through that or or out of that? How do you take your power back from the event or the person that you resent? That's really what we're talking about. So Neshi is sharing for past live stream shows for Chakra Sessions and all the other Star Nations shows. Please visit our YouTube channel. Nice. Each of our shows have playlists on our channel. That's what it is. So Judy's saying, yes, it can cause body problems when you're stressed with it. Learn the hard way. Oh, babe, believe me too. And she's saying, be proud of yourself. Thank you. That is a beautiful thing to share with everyone. Yes, for me, I went through a period of time where I was working with people who said they wanted to change. They wanted change. They asked me to come in and help create change, and then resisted change like nobody's business. They would do everything but change. And so every time it was building this energy of dread for me. I dreaded dealing with them. I dreaded working with them. And this is before I did energy work. I was aware of it, but I wasn't doing it as my profession at the time. And I gathered so much resentment, so much frustration, so much anger that my gallbladder just couldn't take it. And so I was having a lot of pain from that and difficulty. And what happened was my gallbladder actually wasn't filled with stones. It turned to stone. That's how much anger I held in there. And, when I had to have it removed, the surgeon had never seen anything like it because they had seen a lot of stones in them, but never seen one that was, the right shape and looked fine on all the scans, but it had no function. Well, it had some function. It functioned 3%. So obviously I couldn't even let go of the anger and that at the time. So, so that is quite a big piece of how resentment works. Hi, that's interesting, Angie, that you had a growth spurt in the past 3 weeks. Maybe you're growing in huge ways, right? And Lisa is saying hello, awesome people. Welcome, Lisa. So, knowing that resentment can really wreak havoc on our body is a way for us to choose to take some control and do something about it. And a lot of people talk about mindfulness and meditating, and that does quiet and calm the energy system. But it's knowing where we hold the ancient memories in our body and then gently helping our body to let those go, to cleanse them, to restore them. And people talk about it on the physical plane all the time with all these, juice cleanses and eating certain ways to help our bodies. That helps. But I don't know how many of you have done those. But the emotional pieces, the emotions start to cleanse. And if you're not ready for that and you're not ready to emotionally cleanse, then that can start to wreak havoc. And then some of the mental thought processes can come in to cleanse as well. Our ideas, our beliefs. And that's often where I notice resentment coming in. The emotional piece might be anger or frustration, but the mental process are the layers of resentment that we have for the way we've been treated or for the way things happened or things that weren't fair. All of that stuff can come together. Isn't this crazy? And Barbie's saying that her gallbladder was that way. I know. I think us women do that really well. So Julie's saying this is so poignant. I know. I have seen so much of it. It's not even, it was shocking to me how much was ready to just whoosh out around resentment in this new decade, in this new year. It was like, we can't carry that. We can't walk around carrying all this anger and frustration and resentment and judgment energy. Because if we do, it's going to make us sick. And as a society, it's making us sick. So here we are, we're a gathering of light workers, and us light workers are saying, we can be the change. Be the change you want to see in the world. My shirt says, make magic happen. And that felt like I needed to wear it today, because this is what we're going to do. This is how we are going to do it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, New Joy. I really appreciate that. This is all channeled information, guys, for those of you who don't know that. My spiritual team talks right through me, but it taps into my own experiences. So my heart is in it with you. So Carol's saying, all the play, inner child type of cards you have pulled from me help me see that healthy play is therapy for you, right? Bringing in the joy. That I love that. The inner child lives and controls the heart. And so when we are tapped into that, we forget the resentment and we forget the anger, and all of that gets pushed aside when we're in that playful place, when we're in our joy, when we're doing things we love. You know, one of the ways people resent things is when they've got to do things for work that they don't like to do, or when you've said yes to something that you really don't want to do. And then you're either resentful of the task, or you're resentful of the person, or you resent yourself for saying yes in the first place. You can feel how all of that gathers together. Hi, Ellen. This is perfect for you joining us right at this time. So here we go. So let's do a healing. Let's do a release of some of our resentment. Let's take some time to tap into that. So if you have, an idea of something you might resent, bring it in, or a person, bring that energy in. Like, it's almost like you're in a healing room. You're going to be in a healing room right now, and bring somebody in to heal with you. Because if you release resentment towards someone, or towards an event that involves somebody else, you actually send a healing vibration to that person as well, so that you can release the toxic attachment that you have to them, and it invites them to release the one with you too. So Ellen's cute. She's only angry at the politicians. Can we prevail against all that evil by being joyful? Well, you've just designated them all as evil. And I think there's some good people in there who are trying. It's just hard. But yes, love trumps fear all the time. Love energy is a higher, fuller, brighter vibration in all the frequencies and dimensions that it radiates out through. Fear is much denser, lower, and heavier. And so when you hear people say it's time to lighten the mood, what are you doing? You're helping them laugh. You're helping them find joy, and you're raising the vibration. So don't spread the anger. Don't spread the words that cause fear to come in. We're in this place of intense change. We've asked for intense change, and we're being called to the carpet to decide, do we want to live in love, or do we want to live in fear? And some of us haven't decided that. And some of us are having a hard time with that. And resentment of the people who are making us choose, that's not helpful, right? Because that means you're giving your power to them around creating your own happiness. I'm not giving my power away. I'm going to be happy and joyful and connected to what brings me joy. And that may be being by the ocean. That may be snuggling with my kitties. That may be doing this show and helping you heal and helping me heal so that I don't have to walk around with this heaviness inside of me, regardless of the heaviness around me. Does that make sense? So, all right, Rob, I'll see you soon. I know you're heading off. Right. And Rob's saying if it were that easy, we wouldn't be in this situation. Right. And that's so true, and I know, Ellen is saying she's terrified. So the terrified is a good descriptive. So terror, when we feel that much fear, first of all, that's our inner child. Our inner child is scared. So as part of doing this healing, we're going to calm the inner child so that the resentment can go and the inner child doesn't have to feel the weight of it anymore. So let's work on that. So let's start. Let's get some of this resentment out, some of this fear out, because it's not doing us any good. We're seeing what it's doing on the planet, and it's not creating love, and peace and tranquility. So how do we call that in? Let's call it in. Let's bring it in this time of February, this energy of love and renewal. Let's do it. So take a couple of deep breaths. And really try to bring your attention to your breath and to your heartbeat. Our conversation may have pulled you into the past or stretched you forward and worried into the future. So we want to bring our focus, our attention, our breath right into our body right now. And we're going to start by focusing our heart, feeling our heart. And we're going to connect to our inner child first. And we're going to lovingly surround and protect our inner child in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light. A sacred container so it can feel safe, supported, and nurtured. And we're going to begin to ground our energy. We're going to imagine a cord of connection from our heart moving down to our solar plexus where all of that stirred up energy is. And we're going to ask our heart to ground that solar plexus through the connection. And then we're going to ask our heart to ground our sacral chakra right below the belly button as well. Feeling the cord of connection from the heart through the solar plexus, down through the sacral, grounding and connecting. And now connecting our sacral chakra to our root chakra, right below the tailbone, and allowing that to ground and connect. Feeling that cord as it connects through each and every chakra, each and every energy center. And then we're going to invite that cord of grounding to go through both of our legs and down through our feet, through the floor of the building that we're in, down through the foundation, and then through all the layers of the earth, thousands of miles into the very molten lava center, where the divine heartbeat, the original creation energy, is located. And we're going to take our cord and we're going to wrap it around something sturdy, maybe around the heart of Grandmother Earth, maybe around a rock or a crystal or a giant dinosaur bone. And then we're going to ask that cord to gently expand to the size of a cylinder, making more room for us to be grounded and more room for energy to flow to us and through us. Making a tube for energy that we're releasing to go down and compost in the Earth's center. Good. And we're going to invite the divine feminine energy from Grandmother Earth to flow up to our heart, moving up through our body, and to surround and protect the inner child who is safely there in their cocoon of infinite light. And then we're going to also create a grounding cord from our heart up to the divine, to the center of the universe where our soul was first perceived. And we're going to use our heart to connect to our throat, grounding and connecting. And the cord of connection from our throat to our third eye, again, grounding and connecting. And a cord of connection from our third eye to our crown, to the top of our head, grounding and connecting. You perceive that. And allow our cord to anchor once more to that energy. And invite that cord to expand also to the size of a cylinder. So the divine masculine energy can flow to us and through us, gathering in the heart with the divine feminine in harmony and balance around the inner child, creating the Holy Trinity within, and allowing that love energy to radiate out through all of our chakras, through our aura in each and every layer, dimension, frequency, vibration available to us. And let's invite in our spiritual teams to guide us, to show us what is ready to heal, what is ready to release, what will bring us joy and peace and happiness. And as always, we set the intention that this healing is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. And we ask the divine to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light, creating a sacred space and a container for this healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now we're going to focus on the energy of resentment and how that lands in our energy body. And we're going to focus first on our solar plexus, on our third chakra, that yellow golden orb that holds our passion, our desire, and our personal power and our spark. And inviting that golden yellow orb, our sun, to become brighter and fuller. Releasing anything that is dampening our energy, the vibration, even dampening the color of the light that we hold. And from the solar plexus, we are going to connect to where resentment lies in our body. And for most of us, that's going to be right near the liver on the right side of the body. So imagining a cord of connection going from the solar plexus over to the area near the liver where resentment often is held. And just noticing the connection, noticing the energy flow between the two. Any pressure that may be contained there.
Yeah.
Now the energy of the solar plexus, we're going to go over and connect a cord of connection to where the judgment energy lies on the left side of the body. Because sometimes energy of resentment and judgment go hand in hand. So feeling that cord of connection over to the right side of the body, very close to the pancreas. And then inviting the resentment and the judgment energy to create a cord of connection between them. So just imagining this triangle from the solar plexus to the liver to the pancreas, and from the pancreas to the liver. And in this space, this triangle, we're going to invite the divine light to fill the circuit with love and light, with joy and wonder, a fuller and brighter vibration than we've held in this space in a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to invite our heart, the highest heart we are able to connect to create a cord of connection that is wide enough to begin filling all of that space of anger, resentment, and judgment with the fullest and brightest divine light of the divine feminine and the divine masculine and the self as creator, all in that beautiful space. And you may sense that as this bright pink energy or this golden white energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just gently being asked, what are you willing to release in this moment? Are you willing to release fear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you willing to release frustration?
Yeah.
Are you willing to allow some of your resentment to dissolve in this moment?
Yeah.
Are you willing to allow some of your judgment to dissolve in this moment as well?
Yeah.
And as you release the energy towards others, the energy of the same vibration felt towards you from others is gently releasing as well. The mirror of love, the mirror of light, the balance and the yin yang of the energy. For if we no longer hold it, then neither does anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we gently open that circuit and allow it to drain down our energy, down that cord to Grandmother Earth, feeling all the toxins as they move down and out our body. letting them reach the molten lava center to be cremated and return to original creation energy. And once again, flooding all of those places with love and light from the divine energy above, creating room and space for healing, joy, and balance to return into our energy.
Got it. Yeah.
And so it is. And now I welcome you to start dissolving your meditation, coming back into the moment, allowing that energy to settle within you. And I hope that was good for you. So there you have it. We can do our own healing when we're willing to do the work. What's going on around us will start to shift as we work on ourselves. And the more we bring in love and joy and light and play, the more we create that around us, the more love, light, and play we create. And that's how to shine our light, and that's how to be our light in some of the energy that may feel heavy or dark around us. So here on Star Nations, we have a couple things coming up. So tonight, here we are tonight at 8 o'clock in just a couple minutes. The lovely Constance Scherer Wouter, she has a show called The Spiritual Mysteries of Life. So if you want to hang in there for another hour, that would be great. And she's actually tapping into the deeper meaning of the Lord's Prayer. And the Lord's Prayer actually is something that holds a lot of balance for the chakra energy. It does bring your energy back into balance. So I'd love to hear the wisdom that Miss Connie is going to share with us. And you can go right to the Star Nations page or go to her page, Spiritual Mysteries of Life, and watch that right at 8 o'clock. And then I want to remind you guys that we have this great online bundle of classes that is happening all about launching yourself into a deep dive into manifesting energy and all the ways that that can be accomplished and achieved. And Monday night, our very own Maureen Mann is going to begin the class. And she will be doing that, getting us started with how do we call on the angels for manifesting. And my class will be in April. And I'm going to be doing manifesting in multi-dimensions as well as with the inner child. So there you go. And if you want to study with the four of us in person, Maureen Mann, Ed Langen, myself, and Neshi, we are going to be doing that at the end of May here at the sanctuary. And that will be this really deep dive into manifesting in many different frequencies and vibrations, because we each have our own connection to the divine and how to call that in for manifesting. So you can't get any better than that. If you're ready to create the life you've always wanted and you want to create a fuller sense of self, then you need to join us for those classes and then in person. And with that, you guys, I invite you to join me over on the Spiritual Mysteries of Life, and I'll see you guys there. And have a great night. I enjoy having you. I'll see you next week. Bye.